All right, guys, ready? The media likes to be timely. Yes, sir. Let's take a walk. Yeah, let's take a walk. And because it's live, just let's set them over on the table. Yep. Cap. Now we're going to come in tight. You can't be so far back, okay? Yep. Because remember, it looks like we're spread out, but on camera, the tighter still makes us look spread out, okay? So we're just waiting for the green light.
Yeah, let's switch to the steel and
Is there any other updates that you all want besides Pratt? Okay, I appreciate it. And then I'm going to open it up for some questions at the end about Operation Arrowhead too. So we'll explain that.
Can you take questions about Pratt?
Yeah.
In the beginning?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Yep. Hey everybody, welcome to another weekly briefing. Sheriff Chris Swanson here. It's actually 3 o'clock Eastern time. We have all our media friends there. We had to move it for a lot of things, but we're going to give you a great update. We're going to talk about Eugene Pratt, where he is right now, answer a few questions. If you don't know that story, go back in our Facebook feed and you'll see some incredible videos. Just in 1 week, we've reached about 1.5 million people on that story alone, between impressions, views, shares, and also we are hearing from the people. We've got over 140 tips. We've got another case that we're going to be taking to the prosecutor's office. Then we're going to talk about CIT, which if you don't know what that is, that's why you got to watch this. And we're going to talk about this ghost update that we're going to do next week. We've arrested 4 more people. One was actually a repeat offender. It's a crazy story. And also we worked with another agency that arrested a very high-profile individual in their county because of the work with ghosts. This one also works for the school system. And shows that we have a pattern here they've got to be really, really attentive to. But those behind me are part of what's known as Operation Arrowhead here in the city of Flint. And if you've never, ever been in the city of Flint or even know, every big city is the heart of the community. And if you look at around the country, the cities that we love to visit with, it's because they're alive and there's so much to do. Well, we have partnered this summer with our law enforcement friends, our political friends, our media friends, our businesses, our community to do something totally different in the city of Flint. And that's what Operation Arrowhead is. It's a difference maker. It's what we call police evolution. So you're going to hear some great stories from those behind me. You're going to hear some fascinating observations, some incredible stats. In about 15 minutes, we'll be all done, so stay tuned. Put your feet up on your desk, take a break from work, tell them it's your union break, and listen to what we have to say. But Eugene Pratt, he was arrested now 2 weeks ago, charged with CSC first degree. He's been a teacher and an administrator, multiple schools throughout the state. He's still lodged in the Genesee County Jail. He was arraigned. He's got a $25,000 cash bond. He's got a tether connection. He's still in there because you need a place to tether to. And we have yet to be told where that place is. People have to step up and say, I want this person tethered to this location. That's what requires of the tether commitment. That is a court order, not a sheriff order. And until someone comes forward, he'll remain in the Genesee County Jail where he is today. We also, as I mentioned, have made great inroads on tips that we've had. Now, we've validated a lot of what we already know, but we have some new doors that are opened. We worked with the prosecutor now that we have somebody charged in order to issue subpoenas to all the schools that Eugene Pratt served in. Here's why. We're talking a period over decades in a lot of school districts, including those that aren't even in the county, down in Oakland County and Macomb County and Wayne County, where he may have coached or took a team or worked for Kniff Academy. We want to make sure that if there's administrative changes down there, if there are administrative moves, they go to a different building, that if there's a record with Eugene Pratt on it, we want to have that record. So we worked with Prosecutor Layton, we got those subpoenas, and they've all been served. Everybody so far is working, they're very cooperative, they want to give whatever records they have to us. They are personnel records, any complaints, so we're sifting through that. We're also working with the victims. He's already got his next court date, the first week of September. We're making sure that we give people that may not have a case the feeling that they know they're still being cared for. So that's where we are with Eugene. Any questions?
When it comes to that video that you released 2 weeks ago in the Goodwill store, were you able to identify that person?
So the question is the Goodwill video that was released 2 weeks ago. If you've not seen it, go check it out. It literally shows a predator on the hunt. And the video that's in there was an unidentified male black. He has come forward. He was an adult. There is nothing that happened after that, but we have got his victim statement, which we'll use as part of the case. We call it corroborating what we already know. So yes, we've heard out from him, and we're very thankful because the media helped us do that.
Do you think there are any more charges coming? I know you're not the prosecutor, but you said there are more victims out there potentially. Are more charges coming? And if so, could he just remain in jail and not bond out, period?
The question is, more charges coming. You're right, I'm not the prosecutor, but we are the investigative agency. And so we are bringing another case to the prosecutor, but there's a question of statute of limitations depending on the CSC charge. We had that victim come forward because they saw our media coverage. But these are these cases that continue to roll. It's amazing the last 2 weeks, wherever I've been, not even in just Genesee County, how much this family and this name has reached people. So there may be somebody that still is waiting for the right time to come forward. That's why we will never stop chasing leads. If there's more victims out there, please come forward. We will work your case and give your voice. Until then, he'll be remaining in jail unless he's bonded out.
How many victims are you guys up to at this point?
So the question is victims. We know that there are 5 victims that were identified before the case started. 1 we were able to charge on. And I think through time, you'll be able to know that the reason these victims sometimes don't have a case is because we got to work with them. This is from years ago. There's cooperation issues. There's fear issues. So we're working through all that. But there's 10 more that are identified through our investigation that we don't know. So it still remains at 15. 1 came from our media, so we're at 16 right now that we know of. But I'm not convinced that we won't have victims that have cases that'll never be charged, because that's the way this kind of thing works, sadly. One last question.
Why do you think no one wants to give them a place to tether?
The question is, why will someone not give a place to tether? And I don't know the answer to that question. I mean, there's a lot's changed when you are charged with such a heavy count and they had such a reach. But I can tell you that that he's available to be tethered should somebody want to tether him to location. Operation Arrowhead, okay? The city of Flint has their own police department, the Flint City Police Department. We have the state police that have given assets here downtown. We've got the DEA, the ATF, the Secret Service, the FBI. We've got the Sheriff's Office here, U of M, Mott Community College, Kettering, which is a non-police agency, but they do their own security. Everybody's pouring assets in the city of Flint. As a county resident, the city of Flint is the hub of the county. There's so many things that we do down here. There's so many activities, festivities. We're going to share some unbelievable stats, because what happened in around May, June of this year, we saw a trend. And there's only so much one police agency can do. But when we come together and we change the philosophy of how we do things, great things can happen, and that's exactly what took place here in Flint. Over the Memorial Day weekend, we had a weekend of violence. Commissioner Clemens, the chair of the Genesee County Board of Commissioners, he linked up with Ridgway White, Phil Schultz, and we had a meeting right here at the Mott Foundation building. And I've been very upfront going to the board and talking how this happened, but there was a call for action. We needed to do something. And that is, we needed to concentrate on the downtown area, on how we turned the tide and the perception, because we didn't have a very pleasant weekend. And so what we brought to them was a term, and I've used it before and I continue to use it. It's called police evolution. It's not only just taking care of the streets by answering calls, but reducing response time to calls. It's also going back and finding, well, if this individual was arrested by the team behind me for domestic, why did they get into a fight in the first place? Let's go back to the scene. Let's find out. Do they have food? Do they have a stove? Do they have shoes? If somebody's got an addiction and they overdose on the street, well, what caused that? How do you just bring them back but also keep them from re-addicting? So there's so many different things that you can do, and that's what we found. We also found that investing in your community, if you look at all the sheriff cards, you're going to see protect, serve, and unify. So when these DEPs and these sergeants in this office are not answering 911 calls or making traffic stops for people blowing lights or speeding, we're serving the people. We're finding out where the needs are. This crew has delivered so many things to houses and businesses around here. They've gone out of the way. They packed their cruisers with Goodwill items, and then they're going to unify. They bring people together in groups together that you would never expect in order to communicate. And what we're about to tell you and show you has really just turned the tide. we decided at that point, with an $850,000 financial investment from the Mott Foundation, $250,000 from the county board, a $1.1 million yearly investment with 2-year extensions, that we're going to be here for the long run. We talked with our city of Flint officials, we've talked with the mayor, we've talked with the MSP, we've talked with all of the chiefs from the local colleges, not only of which I attended, but I also teach at, and we said this is a group effort. So we had this massive roll call, we all met together, the funding was there, and we chose 5 top-notch, well-qualified, diverse sheriff's deputies and 2 sergeants to be part of that team. Now, there's a lot to choose from, but we wanted to come down here and do our part, not only just answer calls, but also do the paperwork and then invest in the streets. So we were able to get that done in less than 4 weeks, and we started on July the 1st of this year. And I'm happy to tell you that the district that was chosen, from I-69 to Hurley Hospital, from DuPont all the way to Dort Highway, it includes the colleges, the downtown, the government. It includes Powers. It includes the School for the Deaf. It includes big businesses and also areas of homes. We didn't leave anything out. I could only do so much as the sheriff. It's 4.8 miles, and it's 15% of the city of Flint. And what we've been able to do working with our partners in law enforcement is nothing less than phenomenal. You've seen that the perception downtown has seen more police presence. The interactions that people have. Since we took and invested our time, July 1st, there's been 519,000 visitors to the city of Flint. All the festivals, Glizzy Fest, Back to the Bricks, Karim, you had the Gus Macker, you have different shows, the Tech Fest, but we also have a nightlife down here. We got involved with our businesses, the Loft and 501 and Blackstone's right behind me and the Crepe Company, and say, what can we do to make your people that come here at night, in the afternoon, feel safe? That's that evolution part of it. It's an algorithm that works. And I'm here to tell you that in that short amount of time, what we've been able to do is answer 686 911 calls. Now, mind you, we're not here every day. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, we have a peppered shift in there. We can't cover it 24/7. That's why it's a partnership. With an average response time from call to showing up, 4 minutes, 20 seconds. From call, dispatch, for the time they get the call, the average response time is 4 minutes, 20 seconds. Some of the calls are 3 minutes. In fact, Sergeant Smith was talking to a guy for an attempted beanie in progress through his ring cam. The guy was on vacation. Remember that story? We're going to hear from them in just a second. But I also want to talk about our traffic stops. 393 traffic stops, but 219 warnings. You know, having somebody interact on a traffic stop is very critical. Most people will be pulled over before they call 911. So those traffic stop interactions are so key. It's how you're walking up to somebody, how you're starting the stop. It can determine how the whole thing goes. We've seen that on stories around the nation. But when you have people that understand human knowledge and psychology and have proper skills to talk, you can diffuse a lot of that by just being clear and honest. 12 reckless driving, 16 red light tickets, 6 drunk drivings, 19 suspendeds. But also this doesn't stop there. It's not only the felony arrest. We've done 85 of those. We're working with our other partners in law enforcement. As I mentioned, the streets down here, they're peppered with other agencies, and we work well together. But here's where the community starts to come in. Is what we notice is as they were doing their business checks. Now, mind you, business checks is going up and down here. We did 31 motorist assists, 286 business checks, 357 neighborhood checks. That's when they take their cars and they drive back and forth on the neighbors, waving to people, stopping at lemonade stands, buying overpriced warm lemonade, talking to people, visiting with people, going to the Dollar Tree, going to the dollar store, towing cars that are abandoned. That's the kind of stuff that people start to build trust on. When they saw people that are out there on the street and they're playing with balls that are all broke down with duct tape on them, basketball hoops with no rims on them, we made a phone call. We bought our first load of basketballs and nets. We gave those away within 10 days. I'm going to hear a story from Deputy Lakey of how she puts on a net. But I called my buddy up, Kyle Kuzma from the NBA. He came to visit. I called through his agent, Vinny, and I said, we need to be an agency giving out more basketballs and building more bridges than anybody else. Within 15 minutes on a weekend night, he sent me the tracking number, and Kyle Kuzma bought 100 Puma basketballs and 100 nets, and we've already given away 76 of those in the last 3 weeks. That little interaction right there, the things we're doing with Ignite, the things we're doing on the street, it makes a big difference. So I'm going to call some people up, and I'm going to have this little interaction, okay? So, Dion, come on up here. This is Sergeant Dion Smith. not only do you do backflips
Yeah.
off of walls, I'm just like in full uniform. Tell us about that story where you were doing that possible B&E and you talked to that homeowner who was on vacation.
Yeah, absolutely. So, we got a call. I believe it was later. It was later in the day. I think around 9 p.m. It was dark out, and we get a call for a B&E a possible B&E in progress. And on those calls, those are one of the calls where you don't know if the person is still there or if they have left. So you approach with extreme caution, of course, but you're always mindful at the same time. So I approach. I have my spotlight on the house, and I parked a little bit of ways away. And I walked up to the residence. And as I'm walking up to the residence, I'm scoping out the residence, making sure that if there's any lights on, if there's anything been tampered with or anything like that. After my investigation of that potential house, I didn't see any signs of force or anything like that. I approached the front door, and as I approached the front door, we all have Ring cameras. And when a Ring camera, it typically gives you like a little chime, to let you know if somebody's at around your location. And the individual, the man on the other side of it says, "Officer, first I want to say thank you." So we engaged in conversation through the Ring doorbell camera. He was like, you know, I'm so thankful that you responded to my home. I'm so thankful that you guys are out and you're vigilant. And I just want to say when I get back from Bay City, he was in Bay City with his families on the boat having a good time with them. And he said, when you come back, would you come back over and see me? And we went over after that call. I went back, connected with him. He just, honestly, we had a good conversation. And he was just so happy and thankful that we responded. Nothing happened. Nothing happened. It could have been a false trip. But to have somebody respond to your house, it gives you that closure. It allows you to have that okay, somebody's there, that somebody's going to be there if something does happen. So that was an incredible story.
And let me just tell you that not only that, but Dion had a conversation with a guy who was invalid that really didn't trust the police, but gave him his card and said, hey, if you need anything, call back and let me just help you out. They had to break down some barriers because this guy had probably some previous interactions that weren't positive, but by staying tenacious and vigilant and working with our law enforcement partners, man, he trusted again. I'm going to tell you about Dave Bennett right here. Dave Bennett. 2 weeks ago, we got threats, and you may have seen this on different stories, where ATVs and dirt bikes take over the streets. And they'll come 200 or 300 at a time, and they terrorize. They go over people's yards. You can't chase. Well, that happened to you, and we had one of our dirt bikes just keep circling you. Didn't that happen?
Yes, sir.
Tell us what happened there.
I was patrolling northbound Saginaw Street, got up to First Ave, and I had a dirt bike pass me that I noticed didn't have a license plate. I attempted to make a traffic stop on it, and he began to do what they call a ring around the rosy around my patrol car. Then he took off back northbound Saginaw Street. I was able to put it out over the radio, and our partners at MSP were able to track the dirt bike in their helicopter, and we were able to follow the male up to a house in Vienna Township and safely make an arrest without having to conduct a pursuit on him.
See, that's the kind of stuff where we couldn't have a drone fly up there, but Trooper 3, the MSP trooper up there, and our relationships with that, we're able to, what we call the totality of the call, you know, start to finish. I guarantee he didn't expect that the deputies that we have a contract with in Vienna Township would have been waiting for him. And now what it does is it stops, because instead of the message is, I just punked out a deputy on a traffic stop, the message is, I just punked out a deputy and I went to jail. Listen, we want people to have fun, but we also want you not to cause havoc for other people coming down here who want to have a nice time. Deputy Hippensteel right there behind me, he's a former Marine. This guy is one of the most intelligent human beings I've ever met. Now, you've had not a long career here, but you've had a great career here, and you got to the point where you're just being overwhelmed by all the places that we're putting you and all the responsibilities. Since you've been at Operation Arrowhead, what has your life and your career been now that you're assigned here?
Well, it's been a lot of it's been a lot of fun moving down here. There's a bunch of different stuff that we have to take into account for, like the homelessness problem, the mental health problem, the criminal problem. One of the first calls I got was from someone that went to a hospital. He was an elderly male. He was in the hospital for maybe a week, and while he was in the hospital, someone had broke into his house. And so we found the house, took the report on it, and I followed up with him. All his stuff was stolen. He didn't have insurance. I kept following up with that, and I actually ended up arresting the 5 people that broke into it all at the same time. We were able to recover 2 stolen vehicles from it and a bunch of stolen guns as well.
And he was happy.
Yeah, he was happy.
See, that's starting from the call to the finish, because, you know, just like what Sergeant Smith said, our homes are the castles and our property we work hard for. Not everybody can afford a rider on their insurance, but at least when someone's held accountable and you have somebody working like that, it gives you trust and truth. Dion was we just heard from him from the ring door cam, but there was a guy that was just parked right in the middle of the road, right there in front of our local nightclubs, and he said twice, "Hey man, you got to move your car." And the guy looked at him, and he kept mowing, kept looking at him, kept going. What'd you do to the car? You towed it.
Yeah.
And the guy apologized, and we worked him out with a tow. I mean, sometimes you just got to get a nudge, because we're not trying to suggest things when we're trying to build up a city and do such nice things. So it's very easy, and that was a good exchange, and he actually apologized to Sergeant Smith for being disrespectful like that, because we be respectful for everybody. Now, and I tell you, we've also had our challenges. Whenever there's a question to the public, I've been right out front. If there's a concern about what we're doing, we've had some people say some things on social media that weren't accurate. We try to get ahead of it, but it's part of the communication. Sergeant Hunt and his partner, you not only have Sergeant Hunt here, but you also have a canine partner. And now, come on over here. What's your partner's name, and what did he do in order to foil a foot pursuit?
So my canine Max, we've had several incidences that we've been able to stop people from running. As soon as he gets out of the car, they hear that barking, they're done. From finding some narcotics to try and help clean up our city, try and get rid of the illegal drugs.
What does Operation Arrowhead mean to you? You've been at it for a long time. This guy has trained more than anybody in our office. When you see the transformation down here from when you started July 1st till now, what does it mean to you, and what do you see?
There's a huge difference down here. I wish that more people could have seen in our group, we kind of call it a lawlessness down here, and since then we haven't had nearly the issues that we did beginning.
And you know, part of that, if I may, is we met with the owners of one of the businesses that were having their own struggles. But by meeting with them downtown and giving them options to be a part of the solution, they've had no issues whatsoever. We had reports of people going to the flat lot just charging $20 a car by just sitting there in a folding chair. But when U of M joined up with us and the city of Flint, we all worked together. Those times don't happen anymore. If there's actions happen in the flat lot, it's because the DDA allows it to happen, and now we get back to the order that we need. Emily Lakey is I'm not kidding you, I'm a medic, but if anything happens to me, I want to look up and see Emily Lakey. No offense, Justin. But she was part of our medic division, is a great police officer, great medic. She's taken quite a few people to jail. I would love for you to tell the folks what we talked about last week when you have taken people to jail and how you can transform from being a protector and enforcer, but also building a relationship.
It's just more a humane interaction, talking to them. We have good conversation the whole way down. They've actually thanked me while I'm taking them to jail for doing my job.
More than once?
That's never happened. Yes, more than once.
How many times do you think you've taken somebody to jail from Operation Arrowhead?
A lot.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
And what's the percentage of people saying, thanks for treating me fair, thanks for doing this?
Almost all of them.
See, it's all the things we're talking about. Don't go too far, because you may have seen pictures of Deputy Lakey posting her care of animals. Do you have any kind of special animal kit in your car that you could tell people about?
Yes, I make kits with food, treats, and water, and I also have a BVM in case something happens to them medically.
So not only is she a people medic, she's a canine medic, a companion animal medic, but you also have people that are here that are standing on the roofs and the hoods of their patrol cars putting up nets and giving out basketballs. When somebody gives out a basketball in this group, what happens at the street level? Who wants to answer that question? Good, Dion, come on up.
So when you give out a basketball, man, it means so much to a kid or to a group of kids, because sometimes you really never know that kid may have not even been given a gift before in their life. So when you're able to give somebody something, a sport that they love to play, and it's brand new, it means so much more to them. And then also to tie into that, the fact that it's a law enforcement officer that's giving it to them, because perception is reality. So when you see things, when you see officers arresting people, but you don't get to see the opportunities where officers handing kids basketballs, and kids see that and say, man, like, thank you, officer, like you completely change a narrative or completely change the perception in their minds because you gave them a gift, and it came from a genuine spot. It came from your heart. And you said, I want to give this to you, and gift it to you, and gift it to now your brothers and your sisters that want to play with you. Now we have a basketball. Now we have a net. Now I have an officer here who's helping me, who's standing on top of their cars, who's getting out of their cars to come to come help me, to give me something that I've been desperately needing or that I wanted. So it speaks volumes to the little acts of kindness can go a very long way. We may look at it as something real simple, but it speaks so profound.
So what we're doing here is we've created a partnership that is long-lasting. As I mentioned, this isn't a one and done. It's not just the summer. We're here for a whole year with 2 extensions. And the things that this team has been able to do, I wanted to highlight for you at the end of the summer because, you know, this weekend we transitioned to a new month. We're staying with it. We just finished the Crim. We have Bikes on Bricks coming. Come on downtown. Come out and check these out. Talk to the DEPs. Talk to the officers. You see the new vibe that's happening because we're all doing something a little different. And to all those leaders out there that made it happen, that are watching, is this the right move? It's not. I can't thank you enough because we couldn't do it by ourselves. Nobody can, and we have great partnerships. Thanks to Kyle Kuzma, the NBA. Thanks to Puma. Thanks for all those that are joining what we're doing. We've got more updates that are going to be coming. We'll do another 90-day review, but it's going to be cold, so we'll do it indoors. But I also want to thank the team behind me. And it can't happen without a great commander that's pushing it. So we're going to end this little bit. I'm going to open up for any questions with Captain Carrie Ann Nelson. Captain Nelson is the law enforcement patrol captain, and she was the first one that I went to say, I know that we don't have extra people, but we need to do this right now. So what did this mean to you, and how is this operation going as a veteran police commander?
Thanks, Sheriff. So Sheriff came to me literally, I don't know, June, and said we need to put this team together. And here's what we're going to do. We went right to our war board, which is a board of all of our personnel that work for the office, and we pulled. I want this person, this person, this person, this person, and this person. And they're going to make it work. And they're going to go out there and they're going to recreate the city of Flint into how it should be and how it once was. People want to come back down here again because there is lawfulness again. The team behind me is amazing, and they are out there killing it every day. Not just stopping crime, not just, you know, stopping vehicles or anything like that, but they're actually making a difference in people's lives. They're making a difference in kids' lives and in adults' lives and business owners, and making the city someplace that everyone wants to go to again.
So we ought to thank also all the Flint City officers that are working the street. They have built relationships with them that we haven't had just because we were doing something different. We were able, it was the right timing. Also to our state police partners, U of M, I mentioned, I keep talking about it. Nobody can do it by themselves. And this is something we're going to continue. So as we close out, I hope that you're encouraged by it. I hope people see that this is just one of many things Flint has to offer. And what we're doing is part of a commitment that I've made to be the sheriff for all the people. Any questions?
When it comes to that extension, has it been extended for an additional 2 years?
So the extension question, we just started July 1st, so this funding takes us actually to the middle of July 2023. But we just did a briefing with those parties that funded, and they were very excited. They saw the numbers. We have all the data, not only the testimonies and the subjectivity, but they're hearing it from Flint City, too. They're hearing it from the business community. So we have a good chance of getting those 2 extensions, but nothing is official yet, but I have no doubts it'll continue.
You mentioned 686 911 calls.
Correct.
How many arrests have been made since July 1st?
So the calls that we've had, 686 911 calls, we've made 85 felony arrests, 2 of which were criminal sexual conduct, 14 felonious assaults, 14 weapons charges, 11 home invasions, and 236 misdemeanor arrests. Well, listen, I just again want to thank everybody. Thanks for everybody in this community making it work, for the team behind us, for all those that aren't on the team but yet come and volunteer on Operation Arrowhead. It's a group effort, a team effort. Stay encouraged, stay positive, and we'll see you next time. Great job.